Welcome to Primetime, everybody. We are back with another episode, and tonight we are discussing Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 4 ranking. This is part 1. Part 2 will be next week. I'm your host, Hunter Chambliss. I'm joined by my co-host, Chad and Kerri. How's it going, guys?
It's going great. We're always excited to talk Buffy. I have a Buffy poster in the back. I have a Buffy shirt on. Huge Buffy fans.
Yes.
We have Buffy seasons up there on our shelves. So, yeah, we're ready,
There
of
you
course.
go. Yes, I am indeed. Kerri, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
All right.
Talk about Buffy.
Oh, I am too. Up.
So it's your cat. So,
Cats up here. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will explain to everyone who is new how this works. We will be nominating an episode to put it either in S, A, B, or C tier. And then we will talk about the episodes, and then we will rank them at the end after we ranked all 22 episodes, which will be in part 2. So if you guys are ready to start, we will kick off with Kerri with her first selection.
Ooh, okay. Oh, man. Sorry, I like to not think about this until a second ago. I was like, oh, I can rank them off the top of my head, and now I'm like, where do I want to put things? Okay, I'm going to start with the freshman, the first episode of the season. I'm going to put this one, personally for me, I'm going to say this is B tier. Although I would be also fine with it being in the A tier, like a low A tier. It's a really good episode. Obviously, there's some really fun parts to it, like the vampire Sunday and her gang. And then, we kind of see Buffy get a little bit broken at college. She's not fitting in quite well. Her roommate is interesting.
To say the least.
This is a spoiler episode. Her roommate is a demon. She doesn't know that yet in this episode. I don't know. This one for me, I think is B tier just because, I don't know. As far as like an opening episode to a season, I think it actually, I don't know. I think it could have maybe been a little bit better, but maybe it's just not one of my favorite episodes, I guess.
Okay. Chad?
Freshman is A tier for me. I love this episode because I love how it's like, Buffy trying to make college work. She's struggling, because I don't really think that it's a place where she really fits in. I think she starts to see that in the very first episode, but she also struggles a lot, like just against the vampires. Like she meets a force that she cannot fight, and then she learns how to overcome it. She learns I'm Buffy. I'm more powerful than this person. And then, at the end, she ends up foiling that villain. And I don't know. I love that. I think it's really cool how at first she stopped, and then she, in the end, she saves the day. And she does that classic, flip of the steak. What else? Oh, get what's his face from The Mandalorian is in this episode.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal.
Which is very interesting when you start to see different faces. There's I won't spoil it, who specifically it is, but there is an MCU actor in Angel that got one of his big starts. And so it's really interesting, when things like that pop up and you're like, that person's in this. And there's another big actress that comes in the next season that is really interesting. It'll hit her.
I can't wait.
But wait, and Buffy or Angel?
In Buffy season 5. But yeah, I don't know. I really like this episode, and A tier for me. I don't know what else to say about it, to be honest. Yeah. She meets Riley.
On to me.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, she meets Riley and Parker, I believe.
Books fall on his head, and it's a real meet cute. And
yeah.
All right, for me, I put this in A tier. I think it's a really good season opener. with a lot of stuff that kind of ties in to, I guess, the middle episodes that we were talking about from episode 1 to episode 11. You meet a lot of new characters. But I really like the witch coven, or not the witch coven, like the vampire coven type thing that attacks Buffy. I think, what's her name? Sunday, you said?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was just funny. I think there was a lot of good moments. The stoner, the
Yeah,
classic stoner vampire is hilarious.
I love her minions.
So,
They're funny.
so I'm gonna put this in A tier for episode 1,
Nice.
the freshman. So let's put that in A.
Kerri said she wouldn't be mad if it was an A tier.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Honestly.
All right. On to Chad for his next episode.
All right, I'll go with Fear Itself because I think that's one of the most fun episodes of the entire season. We all love Halloween, the episode Halloween, in the second season. Yes, and this one goes to a different place, but I love how I believe when they're going. Is this the one where Anya dresses like a bunny? Oz says, "Hello, my name is God," and everybody's like,
Willow's
"Oh, genius,
Joan of Arc."
just in case we turn into our costumes again. Oz will be God."
Fair enough.
So there's a lot of really fun that they have with their costumes. Going to a college, Halloween party, stuff like that, and then you find out that they're doing a party, but they drew like a cool symbol on the floor, but it's like, it's an actual like symbol of magic or whatever, and it summons a demon. And so I love this episode because I think it's really creepy. And then also when you find out what the demon is, it's really because the demon rises up and he goes, "Ha ha! I am
a tiny person."
And then it's like it like cuts out, and then they're just like staring down at this tiny little demon, and then the book says actual size, and I think Buffy then steps on him and
Squishes him. Yeah.
Well, and then they're kind of like making fun of him at first. They're like, Charles is like, "Don't taunt the fear."
Yeah. Don't taunt the fear.
Like, why is it gonna? Does it have some kind of power or something? And Charles is like, "No, it's just
tacky."
Yeah,
it's just tacky.
Yeah. There's so many great moments in this episode, and I would put this in high A tier.
Okay.
That's easily S.
Oh yeah, this is definitely high A tier for me. One of my favorite Buffy episodes ever. I will say they're like, in my personal feelings on this season I think it does have some of the weaker episodes, and maybe I can understand people thinking it has the weakest storyline maybe of the like overall arching storyline, but I think this season has some of just my favorite episodes of all time.
Some of the favorite episodes, and even if like the overall storyline isn't the best one, there are still some aspects that continue over that episodes that I absolutely love, like Spike and his chip that we will talk about because I love everything about that. So anyways.
Yes. Speaking on like the actual size of the demon, I remember sending you guys a photo that said he's so tiny.
Yeah.
Red letterings, because like that was just genius. Because like again, Buffy, like I'm kind of expecting average size demon to big style demon, and then it's just this tiny little demon who Buffy just like steps on. A great little twist at the end.
The cinematography, like how they actually reveal this demon, where it's like low and he's like,
it's like panning up,
zoom out.
So yeah, definitely high A tier for me. All right, so I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna go with what will be my favorite episode so far.
Ooh.
And that is Wild at Heart.
Oh, is that your S tier?
Episode 6. Yes, that's gonna be my S
Oh,
tier.
okay.
I love like a Willow centric episode, and this feels like a Willow and Oz centric episode. And the whole idea of like, Oz trying to tame the beast inside while trying to keep Willow safe. You have the whole idea of the other werewolf coming in and saying that like, Oz is being like, captured and being neutered because he's in the cage. But then the whole idea of like, is this Oz's decision or is he doing it for Willow? Then you have the whole like dynamic between them. I think this is where the drama is done really well. It doesn't feel over the top. It feels like a natural conversation that a couple would have in that situation. Put Willow and Oz in that situation. I think the action is great. I think having the whole idea of having a female werewolf to counteract Oz's werewolf is really, really smart, because then you have someone who can actually fight Oz at the same level, same passion. So it kind of gives us really like intriguing fights. So I'm gonna say Wild at Heart is my S tier.
Interesting. Okay. Actually, I would say this one is actually more like a B tier for me. I don't know. I just don't. For this episode, I don't know. Almost
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Our cat's being very loud. And...
I'm sorry. I forgot you were talking. Cut you off. All right, go ahead.
This episode to me, it's one of those things where Seth Green wanted to leave the show, and so they had to find a way to have him leave. And so you can tell that this is like they kind of had to find a way to make him leave. To me, it's kind of actually a trope I kind of hate in TV shows, when it feels like the relationship falls apart for almost no reason whatsoever, like either just to create tension or I don't know.
Like, I gotta go find myself. I can't let this demon take control anymore. I gotta go find out how to beat it.
Yeah, and it just seems so out of character for Oz, like
because he loves her so much,
he loves Rose,
and like
exactly.
And that is actually the thing. Now that I think about it, like, I understand you have like the carnal urges as like a werewolf and stuff like that, but then like Oz is the type of guy that, like, when Willow wasn't sure if she wanted to have sex with him, he was like, no, like, we'll do it like when you're ready. And he was the one that said, no, we'll do it when the time is right. And then I'm like, him going and actually like cheating on Willow, like, it seems a little.
To me, it's like everything up until this episode is kind of like Oz is like completely devoted to Willow and like.
But then on the other hand, you can kind of see, because he's so devoted to Willow, that he would feel so ashamed of letting the werewolf side take over so much that's like Oz was the one that would feel that he has to step away.
Because the one time that Willow wasn't there to tame the beast, he got out. The beast, like the werewolf, kicked down the cage door. And that was the one time that Willow was like, I have this Wicca thing to go to. Can you lock yourself up tonight? And when he went to do that, the beast kind of ran free pretty much the entire time. He didn't have anyone there to kind of calm him down, like Willow, to calm him down. So maybe that's a side of him he saw, that like he didn't want to hurt Willow anymore. So that's why he decided to leave. I think it was done better than most shows have done it. Because I didn't know that Seth Green wanted to leave. I thought, we'd see him later on, but.
Yeah, we do see him later on. I think he agreed to come back, but I don't know. That was I don't know when that episode is actually, but
it's later on.
Later on, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and talk. So you said BS. For me, before Kerri even said anything, I was also thinking B tier for this. I mean, every episode of Buffy is fantastic, but some are better than others. For me, this one I feel along the same lines as Kerri a little bit. Like, it's an really interesting like werewolf thing. You get to see the dynamics between two werewolves and like their like carnal attraction, and Veruca's in a band, and Oz is in a band, so they have like that in common too, and so you see him kind of conflicted. And then but I agree with the things that Kerri was saying about it feels weird. I also get sad when Oz leaves because I like that character a lot. So the episode's kind of a downer in that way too. But for other storylines to happen with like Willow and stuff like that, this needs to happen. And as we'll get to down the road. But yeah, it's an interesting episode, but it's not one that I remember like extremely fondly, if that makes sense. So I would say B tier.
All right, so we move back on to Kerri for her next selection.
Okay, it is going to be, I'll go with episode 2, Living Conditions. This is where we do find out that Buffy's roommate is a demon. She really likes to label things, and she loves Celine Dion and Cher.
It's mostly Cher.
But she has the Celine Dion poster.
Yes, but she listens to Kid, Do You Believe in Love and Love?
Obviously, well, I guess it's a good example of an annoying roommate, and it's a clever way to like have to only purchase the rights to one Cher song.
Fair.
This one though, actually for me, I have a lot of beats here this season. This is gonna be B tier for me. It's mostly because it's a very cringe episode. Like Buffy does a lot of cringe stuff, like saving the toenails, and it wound up like that's how they figure out she is actually a demon. But it's so cringy. I can't. It's actually like kind of a little bit of a difficult watch for me.
So I'll go ahead and talk about it. I like this episode. I'd put it A tier, maybe mid A. I don't know. I think the stuff that bugs Kerri doesn't bug me, except for like, isn't there like some annoying crunching with an apple or something that really bugs me? That's the only thing that bugs me, but it's not like that much. But I think a lot of the stuff is funny. Like it's funny how crazy Buffy gets about a lot of the stuff that her roommate is doing. And it's just really, really, really funny, a funny episode in that way. And all her friends think she's crazy. And she's like, they're like, Buffy, you've been struggling in school. This roommate thing, you're just gonna have to get over it. And she's just being herself in college or whatever. And she's like, she's a demon. We need to kill her. And I just think it's really funny. And then she's right.
She's like, I know a demon when I see one, and that's a demon.
I'm Buffy. I'm the Vampire Slayer. I know demons. And it's, I don't know. It just feels like a classic episode. I think her playing Cher over and over is really funny. And I don't know. I really like that one. And I forgot to talk about one of my favorite lines is I think in the first episode when Oz is like walking around and someone asks him a question, he's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Just like, it's a perfect Oz line. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Whatever.
We don't know what's going on. Living Conditions, very interesting.
What do you think, Hunter?
I really do like between B and A. I love the kind of dorm room rivalry between Buffy and her roommate. Like it just escalates. Just like small things lead to another thing, lead to another thing. The labeling is hilarious because she opens the door and it's got nothing but her name on it. Like everything in the fridge has her name on it. I have met those people and I hate those people. So that got under my skin.
She drinks straight from that milk carton or whatever. It's like
that milk carton. There we go. I'm gonna put it at a high B tier.
Okay.
I think it's a really fun episode, but there are a lot more, kind of story-driven episodes that I feel like should go in the higher A tiers.
For sure.
Living condition. All right, so we are back to Chad, I believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with probably, maybe, arguably, but it's very popular, the best episode maybe of the entire season
It's either the only
Ooh.
one
and the show, actually,
nominated or won an Emmy.
an Emmy.
Did it win or was it just nominated? Do you know?
I don't know. You can Google that. Of course, I'm going with Beer Bad. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going with Hush. Hush, the S tier, my S tier. It was the obvious one. I even was sitting there on the couch looking through the 11 episodes, and I was like, oh, okay. And I said, Kerri, there's an obvious S in here, and you're gonna know it exactly when you see it.
It is the only episode of Buffy nominated for an Emmy.
So it didn't win. If you're able to fact check, it did win. But if not, that's fine.
That's too deep.
But yeah, episode that has just great writing and just, seems kind of gimmicky, but it just works. It's just basically, the gentlemen are the creatures that come out from like fairy tale or whatever, and they steal everybody's voices so that they can't scream when they rip out their hearts. Pretty simple in that way, but it's like really effective at how they do it. And with this method, they're able to have a lot of really great scares, because the gentlemen are scary as hell. Their little floppy minions are really creepy too.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Jones does the gentleman, guy.
Wait,
at least
Pinhead himself?
Yeah. Doug Jones is in that
No.
episode. What?
That's Doug Bradley. Sorry. Pinhead's Doug Bradley. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I got
No,
excited for a minute.
Famous Doug Jones from like Hellboy and so many other things. Hocus
Pan's
Pocus.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
The eye guy or whatever. But yeah, episode is very scary, but it's also very funny. Everybody wakes up, they don't have a voice, so they have to go and so it's very silent, but there's a score, right? It's a really good score, I think.
Yeah, there's a score.
And that's like all you have to go on. So you're just watching this visually, and it's amazing that way. There's a lot of really great like physical humor jokes that they have. But everybody's confused trying to figure out what's going on. And then this is also the moment that at the very end of the episode where Buffy and Riley kind of figure out who each other are.
Yeah.
And then I love the moment when because she figures out she has to smash this box, and then she gets her voice back and she screams, and it like blows up the gentleman's head. It's amazing.
The head.
And I love that moment where she just like gets her voice back, pause, and then it's just amazing. I love that episode, and it's no wonder it was nominated for an Emmy. It's a fantastic episode.
All right, Kerri.
Yeah, this is also going to be S tier for me. I was like kind of confused when Chad was like, "There's an obvious S tier," and then I looked at the episode list. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, this one, I think it is probably the scariest episode of Buffy.
Yes.
Yes.
There's one in season 7 that's also very scary.
That one is pretty scary, yeah.
But so like those two.
This is definitely one of the scariest episodes of Buffy. And it's nice because for a show that has horror themes and is considered a horror show, I think we actually don't get a lot of really scary moments, and I think this episode gives us a lot of those really scary moments. I don't know. I think it's the kind of the no voices thing, I think can seem a little gimmicky, especially today, but I think at the time it was made in the late 90s. I don't know. There weren't as many episodes of television that like had kind of a gimmick like that or something. Mm-hmm. So I think for its time, it was extremely original. Like not having anyone talk for almost the entire episode.
And then now we get like a lot of shows that have a lot of different devices they use for different kinds of storytelling. So Buffy's influential in that way.
Yeah, there's an episode of Mr.
Yeah.
Robot. There's no dialogue.
Or very little dialogue.
Just in the beginning
yeah,
and at the end. Just like this. There's dialogue at the beginning and at the end.
Yes. If you haven't seen Mr. Robot, that show is phenomenal.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say.
It's in my top 5.
I think it is like, I think the work put into this episode was kind of above and beyond kind of the average episode of Buffy. I think they maybe hopefully had a little bit more time and a bigger budget to do this episode.
Yeah, so Hush is a really, really good episode. I didn't realize it was, known as the best of the season.
One of the best of the show.
Me, it was a really great episode, but I also think there is one that I prefer more. That's just slightly. So I'm probably put it like high A tier. Well, I mean, yeah, Wild at Heart. No, I think I like Hush more than Wild at Heart. Just kind of.
Oh, there's another episode like more than Hush. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Hush is definitely a great episode. I love how, as you guys said, the whole scariness of it comes from the fact that like we follow the creatures as they kill somebody. So it's like that Halloween effect of kind of first person.
Yeah.
And then they can't scream either because they have no voices. So it's absolutely terrifying because they're paralyzed. They can't do anything. They can't move because they're scared, and they can't scream for help either. So they're just fucked.
Yeah.
And you're just like that's terrifying. I think the makeup effects on the creatures,
gentlemen,
their names are what now? Yeah, the gentlemen are absolutely fantastic. I like, kind of the simple effects, the prosthetics and things like that look amazing. So yeah, definitely a very strong episode.
Yeah, they all have like these like smiles, and they're just like,
yeah, they're just
and then they go, and as soon as they cut out the hearts, they go.
Yeah, it's so creepy. Nobody should be smiling that much.
Jones thing to do is like,
yeah, nobody should be smiling that much. It's creepy.
Yeah.
All right, so back to me. How many S's are we doing for this season?
We can do more than one if you want. I thought we were doing one, but yeah, Hush definitely makes it because Kerri and I said S. But if you want to add another S, I'd be fine with that. I don't think I have any other S's, but if you bring one up that you think is, we might agree with you.
Okay, so let's do 2 S's because I want to bring up this one. I'm going to go the one after Hush, episode 11, Doomed, for my S tier. There's a lot of reasons why. I love the kind of sense of apocalypse that happens. So that threat level is already high. But I love the fact that they go back to the original high school. And you see how damaged it is. And you can finally see what the aftermath of it is. Because we don't really get to see it. So it's like burnt down, and they have this giant fight with these creatures to stop the apocalypse in the high school. So poetic, in the library even. So I love that whole idea. You get the moment where Buffy and Riley finally know what each other's, deal is, like what he's doing, what she's doing. There's a lot of great tension moments between them because you don't know which way Buffy's going to go. I think, Spike. I think Spike has a lot of funny moments in this episode, like him trying to stake himself in Xander's room, where he just flops on the table because he can't do anything, and then at the end he finds out that he can actually fight demons, which is a very, very clever twist of like, okay, so now Spike can't hurt humans, but he can fight demons, and he starts going ham on those demons. It's so funny because his reaction of like he punches like the demon in the face, and then he does this coward effect because it's gonna hurt, and he's like, "What? Yes, I am back," and it's so good. Spike is one of my favorite characters. So I think all of that equals up to S tier for me. I love Doom.
Yeah, I I remember lots of different parts, but I don't always remember exactly which episode certain parts are. So I didn't remember that Spike part was in that episode, but I do love that part. Like I said, I love everything about Spike and his chip because like it's just such a genius way to take a character who would otherwise just, go and just be this evil, crazy villain, but turn him into something more in the middle. Like he wants to hurt people, but he can't. And so now he's forced to, fight alongside, if they accept him, I don't know, but does he want to be accepted? I don't know. But like, the fact that he's like, okay, I'll fight for the force of good, just because I want to fight something though, is the only reason I'm doing it. But yeah, I love that part about Spike. I think the rest of the episode for me, I don't know. I just don't really find it that memorable. Like I'm like struggling to find like really good lines that I remember or anything like that because we haven't rewatched this season like you did recently. So I'm trying to remember them having like the big dialogue at the high school, but I think that's the only thing that I actually remember from the episode. But because you talked about the Spike part, I'll say I'm okay with it being like A. But let's see what Kerri says. I don't know.
I'll be honest, this was actually going to be my C tier episode. Just because, like you said, Chad,
Wow.
honestly, this one is not memorable to me at all. Like, I don't know. I don't even remember we've seen Buffy like a lot, so I do remember most episodes in detail. This one I'm struggling to even, I know there's like demons that are trying to start the apocalypse, and I'm struggling to even remember like what those demons looked like kind of what their goals were besides starting the apocalypse. So yeah, for this one was one that I think I usually just like, watch it and get through. But for me, it's actually one of the weaker ones of this season.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking B, but like, Hunter talking it up made me throw it into A.
That
So
Spike part is really funny.
yeah, so maybe high B is what it would end up being.
Okay.
Or A.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it would either be A or B. You said you would put it in A, right?
Yeah,
so I think A would be
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Plus, I mean, Spike in Xander's Hawaiian shirt is just hilarious to me.
Yeah. Yep. Their little weird kind of relationship, being kind of like roommates or whatever, is just funny, and because
it's so good
because they hate each other, but
Spike can't do anything about it. He
Right.
can't eat him. It's so funny. All right, so we move back over to Kerri for her next selection.
I'll go with the first episode where we see Spike this season, The Harsh Light of Day. This one is an A tier for me for sure. I think Spike is like a welcome face in this season, just because it is like almost a brand new, it's not a brand new show, but by even just taking the characters and putting them in high school, we're missing a few of the characters who we came to love, specifically Cordelia and Angel. And eventually we do lose Oz in the season. I think kind of this episode is kind of like a nice little breath of fresh air. I don't know. Spike in this episode is hilarious. We get the reveal that Harmony got turned into a vampire. Her and Spike are in a relationship, which is like they're always so funny. And I think it's, we do see kind of Buffy is really down in this episode, and she gets to take out her sad feelings on Spike, which is really funny. And this is A tier for me.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like I said, the Spike stuff is my favorite stuff of the season. And so, him coming back, trying to get the Gem of Amara, which is a very terrifying kind of little jewel, because it can take a vampire and make them able to walk out in the sun and just I mean, then they can go kill in the daylight too, and stuff like
And they
that.
can be immortal too.
Immortal,
Yeah.
that's right, exactly. So, so that's a thing that Spike's trying to find, and Harmony's just there just to have Spike love her. In this season, in this half of the season, this is not a major spoiler. This is a minor thing that happens that I'm wondering if it's happened yet. Has there yet been a fight between Harmony and Xander?
I don't know if that's.
Yes, the slap fight. The slap fight in the graveyard.
What episode?
And they both stop.
Because I love that part.
Was it beer bad?
I don't think so, but
I wonder if it is Harsh Light of Day.
yeah, because I don't think it is, because I don't think she ventures out of the cave. That
the initiative.
Okay.
The initiative. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So that was episode 7. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because that part we'll get to that episode, but that part is so fun because it's like slow motion, and you think Harmony vampire versus Xander, but no, because Harmony has still her Harmony personality. It's I don't know. It's still she's silly. And that's what I love about vampire Harmony is that, she's just silly. And Spike is very similar to that. But yeah, this episode specifically, I love the reveal of Harmony as a vampire. I love to see their relationships. Spike is a jerk to her. But you're but she's a vampire. And then still she's sad about you're a vampire though. But and this is the episode where it ends with Harmony, Anya, and Buffy all sad because, Buffy was hurt by Parker, who, Hunter's already found out is a piece of shit.
Fucking jerk, man.
And this is the episode that he starts that, right? Yes.
Yeah, I think all that happens in this one.
Yeah, and then even Anya and Xander have a little bit of a fallout, but this is the first time they have sex, right? And this is the one where he has the Capri Sun, she gets naked and he squirts it everywhere, right?
Yeah. Anya is one of my favorite new characters. Just her bluntness as a human is amazing.
Yes. Yeah. Anya and her matter-of-fact way of speaking is perfect. She has
a line to Giles that I absolutely died at when Giles said he's gonna have a company over, and she goes, oh, what, orgasmic pal? He goes, I really wish you didn't say it like that.
Yeah. And she's obsessed with she's afraid of bunnies, and she's obsessed with money, you'll find out. But other than that, Anya's fantastic. But yeah, everything Kerri said about this episode I think is fantastic. And yeah, this is another kind of connection that you'll see later when you start Angel Hunter, that this has a really good connection with Angel to another episode in that show. So it's a really fun episode. I would also say I like this one.
Yeah, I do too. It took me a while to remember who Harmony was, because I don't think she was really a major character in the early seasons.
She's just Cordelia's friend.
Yeah, so I showed my brother the first 2 episodes of season 1, and I saw Harmony, and I was like, oh, okay, nice. That's who that is now. So the connection going back was really cool to see. Yeah, this episode's really fun, man.
And when on our last episode or whatever, when we were talking about Adam's family values, Harmony's the little girl in that camp. That's the, preppy, we're gonna do it, and stuff like that. And Wednesday is
cool.
Hates her, and she's a little girl.
So the polar opposites of each other.
Yeah.
That's cool. This episode is really fun. Spike has one of my favorite lines in the episode where he goes, sponsored by me kicking your ass. I don't know why that whole fight between Buffy and Spike on the campus in broad daylight was hilarious to me, because nobody's there at the college. It's bright daylight. I don't know where everybody is, but
it's a day off. Everybody's
or they're all in class.
Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough. So I definitely put this at an A tier as well. All right, so I believe we are on chat, correct?
All right. We'll talk about an episode I know not a lot of people like. I'm going to talk about Beer Bad. That's the one I made a joke about earlier, being the best episode. I like Beer Bad. I really like this one. I have never understood the dislike for it. I don't know. You guys may put it lower. I'll put it A tier. I think this one's pretty fun. I like like the beer turns people into like cave people, and then they run around acting like cave people, and it's like this like bitter bartender guy who serves them the beer, and then they all turn into what he like says like they're all like little Neanderthal college people, and so like his beer turns them into that. And then, I think Sarah Michelle Gellar does a really fun job playing that type of role too. So I always found this one really fun, kind of funny, and and doesn't she like punch Parker or whatever, which I think is pretty great. So
Yeah.
I'd say A tier for that one.
Kerri?
Yeah, so this one and then one other one later in the second half of the season, I think are by Buffy fans generally considered to be the worst episodes of the show. I agree with Chad. I actually don't hate it that much. I would say actually though, because we didn't do Doomed for the C tier, I would say this would actually be my C tier for the season, or this half of the season. If we're gonna have to put one in C tier, I suppose there's like one more I would maybe put in there. Actually, I'm not even sure at this point. So yeah, that's the only one I would think to put in C tier, just because. I don't know. I mean, I do think it has some really funny parts. But I guess there's not, I mean, the monster is a guy who is like, making college students into Neanderthals. So it's just not, it doesn't hit as hard for me, I guess, as some of the other episodes in the season.
But like, I still don't understand like why it would be like the worst of the show or something like that.
I don't know. You can read whoever thinks that has that opinion. I don't think
we don't have to talk about that opinion though, because none of us maybe don't feel here, I guess.
So this was actually my C tier as well for this half, and it's mostly because it's a fun episode, but we're halfway through, or not halfway through, but should be getting into more of the major storyline going forward from like episode 5 and 6 onward, that this just kind of feels like kind of a sudden stop for a little while just to do something kind of fun, but it doesn't progress any of the storylines that I'm actually enjoying. And it's just, I didn't like how like the cavemen were acting. Like they acted like way over the top, which I get that's kind of the point of it, but it seemed more goofy to me than anything. And I like the perfect balance that Buffy has of like serious moments, but also, kind of over the top comedic moments. So I think this one went a little too far on the comedy for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so C tier. All right, we're back to me, correct? What episode do I want to go with?
We got 9, 8, 7, and that's it.
That's it, yeah.
7, 8, and 9.
Hmm.
That's why 6 was afraid of 7, because 7, 8, 9.
And there you go. I'm going to go with Something Blue, episode 9. I really enjoyed this episode. Again, I love a lot of the Willow-centric episodes, or like the episodes where Willow has a lot to do. And in this one, she like all her wishes can come true, which I think is hilarious because she'll say something like not meaning it, and then something else will happen behind her. And then the funniest part to me is the Buffy and Spike like marriage thing was so funny to me. Like her picking out dresses, and her talk like Giles just act like being blind is like, I can hear what you're doing. Please stop. The making out, he's like, please just stop it. Stop it all. I think this episode has a great balance of comedy and kind of a certain sadness to it, because Willow is only doing this because she wants Oz back. Like, she's heartbroken. She doesn't know how to deal with it yet. With her having her powers of witchcraft, she kind of meddles with stuff she's probably meddling with stuff that she shouldn't be meddling with. And I actually like the kind of nod to Hellraiser a little bit when Willow gets asked to join the kind of I don't know what it is, like the cult or whatever of demons. I like that whole scene. A perfect balance of comedy and really great dramatic moments. Yeah, I'll put this in high A tier.
Kerri?
Yeah, totally agreed. High A tier. This is like one of my favorites of the season. Like you said, Hunter, I think just the balance between the comedy and diving into Willow's feelings in this one is really fantastic. This season as a whole just has some of the funniest episodes of Buffy, and this is one of them. This is one of the reasons I look forward to watching this season when I watch it, and I don't really understand the hate this season gets.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, just in addition to the funny parts, like, I love that this episode is about, like, everyone, all of her friends are a little sick of how Willow is still down about Oz and feeling bad about Oz, and she kind of like isn't dealing well with it. But I think that's so realistic. I think it's, you've been with someone since since she was a junior in high school, like
junior high school.
Yeah. And obviously it's going to take more than when did Oz leave, in this world, it's 1, 2, 3 weeks ago or something. So it hasn't been long at all. And I love that that's kind of her motivation behind this. And she always has like such good intentions. She's trying to get herself to feel better and to feel better so she doesn't feel like she's dragging down her friends anymore. And it, kind of goes haywire and results in mischief that is very funny.
Yeah. The mischief caused by people doing like spells gone awry and just really anything like that always it ends up in something funny happening, and you get to see like different kind of characters interact in ways you never thought you would see them interact and just different kind of dynamics. Buffy and Spike hate each other, but then that hate turns into something else because of the spell briefly, and then they go from like a complete like 180 with falling in love with each other and stuff like that, and Giles being blind, and I don't know, just like every like little thing that someone says, like not knowing that's actually going to happen, or Willow says, or whatever the spell is. It's just a really fun episode, and Kerri said like everything about like the relationship, the depressed Willow stuff that she goes through. That's really great about it. And yeah, that's just kind of like the thing is like people do kind of put down the season a lot, and I like the transition from high school to college for them, and you get to see how they go, because Joss Whedon said that he never wanted Buffy to just be a high school show, because a lot of shows are just high school shows like Saved by the Bell and all that stuff.
Yeah,
we're going to transition to adulthood now, and this is I don't know, maybe if this is an awkward season, I think that's kind of what the transition from kid to adulthood is. It's awkward, so maybe that's why it feels like that. And this is a really fun episode. I'd definitely say A tier. I agree.
I think Buffy has a funny line at the end when the spell is undone and she's making out with Spike, and she goes, "Spike lips of Spike."
And also, I forgot about the whole thing that I've been talking about, this whole ranking show that we've been doing with Buffy is that Xander's a demon magnet. You get to actually see in
Yes.
that episode that he's a literal demon magnet, and demons are coming after him, stuff like that, because it's just been famous now that Xander has been attracted by, so he's been in so many predicaments with demons coming after, like even Anya, former demon.
Yep.
So
I think this is also the episode where Spike is like in Giles's bathtub.
Yeah,
And
he's chained up in the bathtub.
kiss the librarian mug.
we
and
have
librarian.
that mug.
feed him it's like
Spike has a funny line too, where he's like he wants to help Giles, like stop being. And he goes, "Why are you helping me?" He goes, "Well, technically, you are my father-in-law."
And I think Spike only just wants to sit in the bath. Doesn't he? Is he watching Passions at this point?
I think he does say like.
Where he's like, Passions is on. I want to watch Passions. That's his.
Yeah,
okay.
Passions.
Okay, I was about to say, if it hasn't gotten there, that's his show. He wants to watch Passions. So I guess it's a soap opera of some kind.
It's
Oh
like,
man,
like a supernatural soap opera.
Of course it is.
of course it is. Also, love the interaction between Buffy and Giles, where she says that she wants Giles to walk her down the aisle.
Yeah,
That's just sweet. All right, so we move back over to Kerri.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with episode 7, the initiative. This is one where Spike is captured. He gets the chip in his head. And he tries to attack Buffy. He's unable to. And then, this is the one too where Riley kind of like, figures out that he has a crush on Buffy. I'm gonna say high B. I wouldn't be mad if this wound up in A. I think this is a pretty solid episode. This is, I think, where the earlier episode that Spike was in, I think we kind of you assume it's kind of a one-off, like in season 3, like, oh, Spike's coming back for his episode this season. Season 7's where he comes into the show for the remainder of the season, and we'll see how long he stays. It's a good setup to that, although and we kind of learn a little bit more about the initiative in this episode, which is pretty cool. We are kind of like forwarding that main storyline. I don't know, I guess it's just it doesn't have quite as many memorable moments as some of the other episodes in the season, which is why I'm kind of like, putting it in B tier, but like I said, wouldn't be mad at it being in A tier.
Jack?
Yeah, basically, I agree with you. I don't think this one is like that memorable either, but I do love the whole Spike chip thing, as I've talked about. I don't honestly remember too much about this episode, so I would definitely also say B tier. I don't have much to say about it. I can't really remember a lot about it, to be honest. It's not in my head right now. Maybe when Hunter talks about it, then I can like go off.
Yeah, because I just got done watching this episode yesterday, so it's still kind of fresh in my mind. I love, again, a lot of these episodes have great Spike moments. And I love it because Spike is such a great character. But when he's trying to like bite and kill Willow and he can't, and then just that whole idea of like performance issues, and she's like, "No, it's okay. We can take a break." And she goes, "Wait, what am I doing?" She hits him with a lamp and runs off.
I love moments like that. That's so good.
It's so funny. I'd probably agree B tier. I like the kind of main storyline of like the initiative being there, going at, I'm guessing head to head with Buffy at one point. I like the whole idea of like an underground society, and then kind of the, capturing the demons and the creatures. I know a lot of people, according to you guys, didn't like this storyline so much, but I'm kind of enjoying it. Kind of fresh eyes, but maybe if I get through the season, maybe I won't end up liking it. I don't know, but just very fun episode. I think Spike elevates this episode a lot. So yeah, definitely B tier.
I gotta say, I don't hate the initiative. That's another thing that like people are really down on as far as like an overall storyline. You haven't really gotten to, a lot more about the initiative. There's more coming, but
Yeah.
I don't like because I don't want to say there's like a main kind of thing with the initiative that a lot of people don't like that you haven't met yet. And
Okay.
I don't mind it. I like it. And I like how the season ends and the whole initiative thing. So I don't know. I'm a hopeless somebody who just likes everything Buffy, but I don't mind it. I really like Riley. And I think it's a very complex, complicated foil for Buffy because she falls in love with somebody from the initiative at first, but then like you said, at some point they have to butt heads. So it's going to be interesting talking more about the initiative next ranking episode.
Yeah. Kerri?
Wait, so I brought this one up, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've talked about
Oh, you brought this one up. Sorry.
So it's B.
Sorry about that.
I think it's B.
Yeah, B.
Yeah.
The alcohol's kicking in a little bit. Sorry about that. Chad, on to you.
Well, there's only one left, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about Pangs. Pangs is interesting because I don't like the overall story of it. I don't like the villain of the episode, the monster of the week part, but it leads to like some shit that I really, really love. Because I don't like, so basically, Xander's working construction. He falls into like a little thing. He gets, is it syphilis that he gets?
Yes.
He gets like 7 diseases.
He gets like syphilis, and there's another funny moment where they like in season 6 where they call back to this episode. So watch out for that because it's really funny. But this episode, yeah, I don't know. It's like these like Native American spirits haunted this thing and then cursed Xander, and then they're out to, I don't remember the whole point of it, but like they're out to get revenge about how they were treated and stuff, which that sound about accurate. And which I mean you can like throw that out there, especially because it's like a Thanksgiving episode, so you can throw that out there as like kind of a fun like commentary on Thanksgiving's not everything that you think it is. It's fucked up, and people were mistreated and stuff like that, and that's all true, and that all should be talked about. But I don't know. For me, it's just not super enjoyable, except for like the ends. We get Angel coming back in this, and he's trying to like help Buffy, and then Buffy doesn't really know about it until like the very end of the episode, I think, right? And then she finds out
at the very end,
and this causes certain things when you get to Angel to happen as well, which is really fun. And then one of my favorite parts of this episode is the whole Spike trying to Spike's trying to like, I don't know. He feels lost because he can't hurt anyone. He doesn't know he can hurt demons yet. So he's like, he's got like this blanket over him, and he's like this poor like beggar guy
trying to hide from the sun.
Yeah.
He's looking in on them having this nice Thanksgiving meal. It's very funny, and I love that part. But I would, because I might have put this in C. But because C is already taken, I'm fine with it being a B.
Okay.
Yeah, your thoughts are my thoughts exactly, Chad. I think it kind of sucks because there are so many great things that like parts of this episode, like all the stuff with Spike and Angel specifically is like, it's so funny. And so like this is where Spike kind of starts to get integrated with the gang. He goes to them for help. It's funny because when they're being attacked, no one gives a shit that Spike is like getting shot by and he just says, and he's the one I think who reveals that Angel was in town.
Yeah, at the dinner table.
Yeah, when they're at the table at the end.
Do you see Angel or some? What does he say?
Yeah.
What's the line, Hunter? Do you remember?
He says something about that was harder than expected, or a long day as expected, and then Spike goes, "Yeah, especially with Angel back in town."
Yeah. And it's like, what?
Yeah, but like Chad said, I think this episode overall does not hold up, and still probably the overall villain was, I think, I mean, at any time, it's, I think, inappropriate and pretty racist. And it's interesting because they talk a little bit about, like, Willow is like, well, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in my house, like, you know, for these reasons, because, you know, there was a genocide on indigenous peoples in this country. And yet they still make the villain in this episode like an indigenous spirit, and like it doesn't hold up. So like there's like parts of this that I would be like take like this, like the overall like villain in this episode out, and this would be like an A-tier episode for me. But because of that stuff, for me, it makes it definitely a B tier.
Yeah, I am kind of on the same level as you guys, B tier. Like another reason is because this episode feels more like Willow is not being herself, if that makes any sense. It's got moments where she's like, you know, the Willow that we know and love, but when, you know, Xander's in danger and, you know, the crew has to take this guy out because he's hurting innocent people, and she's like, no, let's talk to him. I'm like, Willow should know at this point that, like, you know, a lot of innocent people are dying, and that Buffy has to take out this, you know, the spirit. Like, so she kind of comes across as kind of, you know, misunderstanding the situation. If that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and that fight makes no sense either that her and Buffy have.
I think they wanted to kind of shoehorn, and I think they were trying to honestly, I guess, in some ways, lessen how racist this episode was. Like, having Willow kind of be like, you know, we shouldn't like, you know, attack a people that they're attacking us because like it's a vengeance thing, you know. But I think this whole, like, they should have just scrapped, like, really the whole part, like, format of this episode and gone in a completely different direction instead of trying to. I do think it is a little, like, I don't know if it's unrealistic for her character, but I do think it is, like, it's kind of too little for this overall storyline at the very least.
And they probably, I mean, it's fun that they wanted to do a Thanksgiving episode, but they could have probably did a different story.
Yes.
Well, you can keep the spice
I'll
stuff.
tell you, this episode would have been a lot better if they focused on Buffy trying to have the perfect Thanksgiving to kind of distract herself from the Riley situation. That would have been a great episode of like focusing on Buffy to be like, how is she handling this kind of tension? All right, so she's going overboard with the Thanksgiving thing because she wants to just distract herself from food and the parties and things like that instead of getting in her own head again.
Yeah, I thought this episode was, I think it was like Buffy trying to like hold the group together because she feels like they're all like pulling apart, and that's why she does want to have the perfect Thanksgiving. I do think they could have leaned into that a lot more and just done it. Just really, they could have done any kind of other monster of the week, like, and it would have been a lot better.
All right, so I will go over what we have on our S, A, B, and C tier list. So S, we have Hush. A, we have The Freshman, Fear Itself, Doomed, Harsh Light of Day, and Something Blue. B, we have Wild at Heart, Living Condition, and The Initiative and Pangs. And then C tier, we have Beer Bad. that's what we have for this episode. I am super excited for next week's episode because the full ranking. Plus, I'll be able to actually finish the season, which I'm super excited to get done with and kind of just have my overall thoughts. So, guys, do you have any other thoughts on this season or this half a season before we close it out?
It's a solid first half. Like we said, maybe there are more like middling episodes than like great ones, but we do have a few ones that we absolutely adore. It's fun to see the gang go to college and just like not just college, but move on to adulthood after school, and then even have a slight return to school for a second. I'm very excited for the next half. I didn't look at the whole list, but I know there's a lot of really great stuff coming in the second half of the season. It's a really fun one. I think season 4 is underrated, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we've talked today about some of my favorite episodes in the whole show.
All right. Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of great episodes this half of season. I'm super excited to get to the other half because I keep hearing that there are some really good episodes moving forward in season 4. So that's the end of the episode, guys. Chad and Kerri, where can people find you online?
Okay. Well, for me, just the normal stuff. If you watch, but I'll do it quickly. Dill Pickle Movie Network. We do Picture This, where we talk Oscar movies. We did 1991 last month, and this month we're doing 2009 for Avatar: The Way of Water is coming out next month. But this was the best slot we had to fit in a 2009 ranking, and I'm excited about that one because 2009 is a really good year for Oscar Best Picture films. There's like 10 of them, and most of them were actually pretty great, and I discovered some new ones that I really like. Of course, this, and then my own channel, and Hunter has been on that. Kerri has also been on that. It's Chadwick Webb, and we rank stuff. The show's called You Rankin' With Me, that I co-host with my buddy James, but Kerri's on there pretty much every episode. Hunter's been on one. We're gonna get him on, or two. No, you've been on one, right?
No, 2. Screaming Halloween.
Screaming Halloween, that's right. And so we're gonna try to get you back on soon. Rank stuff. We've done Christmas, Halloween, Scream, Evil Dead. What's the other horror one we did? The Nightmare on Elm Street. We did Harry Potter, Edgar Wright. In all 3 phases of the MCU. We're going to do phase 4 soon. Wakanda Forever just dropped, and then as soon as the Guardian special drops, we're going to do that. We have plans of doing like Star Wars, Quentin Tarantino, a bunch of different stuff. So please check that out. Give it some more views, and this was fun, Hunter, as always. Thank you.
Definitely. Yep. All right, guys, this is the end of the episode. So if you did like this, hit the like button, subscribe to the network. Thank you guys for watching. Guys, soon. Got a whole time.
But it refills over time.